Hey Mama, do your mornings feel overwhelming before you even get started on homeschooling? If you're teaching multiple kiddos, you're probably carrying more mental load than one woman was ever supposed to carry. Today, we're going to fix that. Hi, I am Amanda Schenkenberger. I am a homeschool mom to four boys, homeschool coach, and author of the book Overwhelmed, a homeschool mom's rescue plan for peaceful routines. And I help moms create simple systems and routines so that they can teach with confidence instead of chaos. And I'm so glad you're here. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. I want you to download the Homeschool Routine Builder that you see right here. It walks you step by step through a peaceful flow for your homeschool day, and it pairs perfectly with what I'm teaching today. So make sure you grab it when we wrap it up. All right, let's get settled in and started. Where we're headed today is first talking about a common stress pattern I see in homeschool moms. Then we'll simplify your homeschool down to the four core. And finally, we're going to add some margin so that your day feels peaceful and becomes doable. Most of us homeschool moms aren't struggling because we're doing something wrong. It's because we're trying to do too many good things at once. There's all the subjects, all those expectations we have. And when you have multiples, there's ages and stages, and then our emotions on top of managing our kids' emotions. And by 9 a.m., we can feel like we're already behind again. When we're homeschooling multiples, it's not just about trying to stay on schedule or actually doing every single day is managing shifting needs, big feelings, different personalities, sibling dynamics, and your own patience level, all while trying to teach long division to one child and try to help the other one from melting down about handwriting. Sound familiar? That's my house. Sometimes it's the same kid. Um, that's why our days can feel so off track so quickly. And it's not because we're inconsistent or unorganized. It's because we're trying to operate without a simple, peaceful structure that supports the reality of managing multiples, not the ideal of it. When I talk to moms, and maybe this is you too, I hear thoughts that sound like, well, I want to give them the best, but I feel really unqualified for this. What if I fail them? And then there's always the question, are we doing enough? Am I enough? And behind all of those feelings and thoughts, we just want our days to feel lighter. We want something that's doable, something that's not going to burn us out, and something that helps us feel present, be present, not pressured. So before we jump into the teaching, I want to give you a quick snapshot of what you're going to walk away with today. First, you're going to get really clear on whether or not you're an emotional light switch or an emotional dimmer. This alone is going to bring a lot of relief to you because it helps you understand why your days feel the way they do, and it gives you permission to stop beating yourself up. Next, we're going to talk about the four core subjects. This is a simple framework that grounds your day, especially when you're teaching multiple kids. Most moms are doing way more than they need to, and trimming down to these four is going to instantly bring some peace. You're also going to learn where to build in margin, which is some real breathing room. So your day stops collapsing every time something unexpected happens, which is, basically every single day in homeschooling with multiple kids. And finally, you're going to walk away with a simple daily plan you can actually use tomorrow, right? It's not some huge overhaul. We're not trying to plan out your whole year. This is just going to be a clear, doable plan that brings more peace and less pressure into your homeschool flow. Let's go ahead and get started. And before we start talking about simplifying things into the core four, I want to talk about what affects every single part of your homeschool day. And that is how you respond to stress. In my book, Overwhelmed, I share a simple way to think about this. Some of us are emotional light switches, and some of us are dimmers. A light switch mom can go from calm to overwhelmed very quickly. 1 second you think everything is fine, and then the next second it's too much. There's a noise that sends you on edge. Or it's just the one more question, like, ugh, I have a questioner. Oh, and I have a challenger. And then there's a lot of questions from the challenger. Um, Sometimes my head feels like it's going to explode from all the questions. Sometimes it's a visual mess, or maybe a kid spilled something. It's the teaching, and all these things really can stack up quickly. So a light switch mom is where we go from calm to overwhelmed really fast. Now, a dimmer mom ramps up slowly. The pressure is going to build little by little throughout the day until eventually she's overwhelmed. So it happens gradually, but she can feel it coming on. And honestly, most moms will say that I'm a bit of both, and that's normal. It really does depend on the context of the situation that you're in. So here's what I want you to hear. You're not broken if you're a light switch in some situations. You've just been working against your nervous system instead of working with it. When you understand your pattern, especially those light switch moments, you stop thinking, oh my God, what's wrong with me? And you start saying, oh, this is my pattern. I can build support for myself here. And this matters because those light switch moments can be the hardest. And those are the exact places we're going to spend building some margin later on in the workshop. So let's take a moment right now. And I want you to think about this past week. Where did you feel overwhelmed quickly? Or where did things go from fine to too much in an instant? I want you to take a minute. You might want to pause the video, and then I want you to write down one place that you see yourself as a light switch. It could be in transitions from, morning breakfast into homeschool. It might be around a certain subject, math. Um, Maybe it's sibling conflicts or meals or, putting the kids to bed. I want you to write down that one. If you have multiple, sure, write them all down. But let's focus in on the hardest light switch moment for you and write that down because we're going to circle back with the margin later. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the framework that brings immediate relief to your homeschool day, especially if you're managing multiples. And this is simplifying down to what I call the core four. And if you heard me speak at any point, you probably have heard me talk about these because this is the hill I'm going to die on. So, what we get to simplify down to is math, language arts, science, and social studies. And I want you to know that under the umbrella of social studies falls Bible time. This is actually social studies because it studies people, history, cultures, and religion. Now, when we focus on these four core subjects, you're giving your kids a solid, well-rounded education without all the overwhelm, because these, I believe, are some of the true foundations of learning. And here's what I want you to hear from this. Simplifying doesn't mean your kids are getting less. It means your kids are getting what actually works. My own boys use this exact core four approach, and they consistently test in the top 10% of the nation on standardized tests. Even more importantly, because I don't care about test scores, is that they love learning. They love reading. They're curious, engaged, and confident. Simplifying your homeschool does not water anything down. It's actually what's going to strengthen it. And because you're not juggling 12 different subjects and 8 different programs plus 7 different children, you might have that many, I only have 4. But you're going to notice something beautiful when you simplify down to the core four. Your kids actually learn better because they are focused. They build confidence. They have room to be curious and dive deep on subjects that light them up. Learning becomes enjoyable again. And for you, the pressure really begins to lighten up because there's fewer moving parts and your days start to feel doable again. And you get to be more present and connected. And honestly, homeschooling becomes a whole lot more enjoyable for everyone. Now, I want to make a note for any moms here who have a kindergartner through second grade, maybe even third grade, because for you, the heavy lifting is really just down to 2 core subjects, which is math and language arts. Social studies and science can happen naturally, right? We've got baking, nature walks, trips to the zoo, studying your own family history, exploring your community, and lots and lots and lots of good books. And that'll be truly enough for your young homeschooler. And I want to point out a very specific spot here because a lot of homeschool overwhelm comes from accidentally doubling or tripling down on subjects without realizing it. I once coached a mom who was drowning in science. She had a full-blown science curriculum, a whole day dedicated to a nature co-op, and then experiments for at home. And I said, "Whoa, sister, that's a lot of science for one family in one season." And so she chose just one of them that served her family best and released the rest from, feeling required to do it. And her whole week just immediately opened up and she felt lighter because simplifying isn't about doing less learning, it's about doing less duplicate learning. So here's your action step for this one. It's going to be a powerful one. I want you to take every single curriculum, workbook, resource, subscription, or program you've been using regularly in your homeschool, and I want you to write down which of the four core subjects it belongs in. And I just want you to sort it. I'm not going to make any kind of decisions right now. I just want you to sort it. So, reminder, we've got math, language arts, science, and social studies, and Bible fits in there. So, once you assign everything a category, you're going to see something amazing open up for you. You're going to see where there's overlap, where you have too much, and what you can confidently let go of. So make sure you go, maybe you have like a mental Rolodex of all the curriculums that you've been using, or if you need to go to your homeschool wall to do this, I want you to pause the video and go sort and categorize the homeschool curriculum that you've been using regularly. Now that you've come back, let's talk about the piece that makes this whole plan doable for real life, and that's margin. Margin is simply built-in breathing room. It's the space between things that keeps our day from collapsing the second real life happens, which is like every day in homeschool. Without margin, even the best plans can feel stressful because we end up rushing and then snapping or shutting down. And that's not because we failed, it's because we didn't leave ourselves the amount of time we actually need. And I'm an executive function coach, and there are people who they maybe you're one of them and you don't like to admit it, but estimating time isn't a strong suit for you. And that's okay. Like, there's no reason to beat yourself up about it. And it's important that you acknowledge that and bring in tools that will help support you. And that's one of the things I love to do with my personal clients is support them in that way, especially if a mom or a kiddo has ADHD. Um, Figuring out the tools you need to support how you can stay on time is going to completely transform the way you homeschool. Now, if you're good at estimating time, great. We're going to add in some margin. Either way, you need to add margin and it needs to be real margin. Now, here's why it matters so much. Most of us go off track when two things collide, and that's big emotions and the pressure to move on quickly. Ah! Most of us, what overwhelms most of us is not actually an emergency, right? Somebody's arms cut off, emergency. Somebody's melting down over math, not an emergency. However, it feels like one because so many of us have been living in this low level fight or flight state. And our nervous system can quickly shift into that urgency, emergency mode fast, even when there's no danger happening. But margin is going to help interrupt that cycle because it removes that internal pressure to get it done. It gives your brain some space, like some wiggle room to shift gears. It's going to give your kids space to settle because just like they need space, you also need space. And it gives you room to respond with patience instead of that rushed, hurried energy. So here's where this all connects back to the light switch moment you wrote earlier. I want you to increase the time you expect that light switch area to take by 15 minutes. So if you know, oh boy, when we break out that handwriting workbook, there's going to be some tears. You know it, add 15 minutes to that time. Just tack on 15 minutes. If you guys feel like I want to be finished with homeschool by noon, then make sure you start 15 minutes earlier in the day just to give yourself a little more breathing room. And if you guys can, add 30 minutes. And then you'll feel great when you guys finish early. Adding this 15 minutes, possibly even 30 minutes, is going to help you when things go off track without you going off track, okay? So let's go ahead and pull this all together for your plan tomorrow. So one, you're going to need that one block of margin you're adding around your light switch moment. Two, choose one curriculum or resource for each of the 4 core subjects that you have. If you found out, just now that you have 3 language arts curriculum, let's just pick one and simplify things for right now so you can start tomorrow. And then finally, I want you to pick what subject you're beginning with. I highly recommend it either being math or language arts, so you're not making another decision tomorrow, because decision fatigue is a real thing. So let's make the decision right now before we're pulled in all directions with emotion and decide which one you're going to start with. And that's it. Now you have a simple, peaceful plan that's going to actually work for tomorrow in your real homeschool life. Now, please remember, your very next step is to download the Homeschool Routine Builder. I'm going to talk about how to organize the homeschool section of your day. It walks you through turning those core 4 and that margin block into a simple rhythm you can follow again and again. So don't leave without it. And if today felt like a fresh breath of air that you needed, my book Overwhelmed is going to walk you through the full rescue plan for those overwhelmed days. It uncovers your emotional patterns, helps you plan out your routines, creates more connection with your kiddos, and shows you the habits that keep tripping you up so that you can bring peace into every part of your homeschool life. If you're ready to do the deeper work that comes with today's quick win, I'd love for you to grab it. And to wrap us up, I want to hear from you in the comments. What is one small change you're excited to try tomorrow? See you later.